Hello, this is Kim Kimball. This is Brennan, my son, Noelle, my daughter, 9 and 17. And this is take about 57 of Homeschooling Confessions number 4. We're talking about socialization. My confession tonight is that I have a glass of wine here, and you see that it's gone. Because we've worked so long at doing this. I actually had a number of takes before they even got home, and they both came home and interrupted various takes. Noelle was out at her dancing with her company. She had rehearsal tonight. She also had drama, and she went to that after a full days of school. Actually, didn't go to school today because it was closed because it's a holiday. But normally she would be at the local community college all day. Even in spite of the fact that you weren't at school today, you were still had a proposition of marriage from a young man at the school who wants her to marry him so that he can get papers to the United States. So you can see that my children are dealing with real world.
I don't know if that's socialization or what,
but you're out dealing with the world, and that's
yes.
a concern that people have, that you don't have friends, that you're not dealing with the world. Brennan spent the day with his class, and then afterwards you went with a public school friend to swimming practice and had dinner at their house and then came home. My kids have a lot of friends. They're involved in a lot of activities. Brennan's in basketball, swimming, baseball. You have a lot of classes, writers, Spanish, Wild Earth, where you spend a lot of time with kids. He's also given the ability in many of those things, and Noelle obviously a lot, where he's in a more traditional classroom setting with a teacher talking. One of the things I find about my kids and I like the most is that they're very comfortable in the world. They have very nice manners. They don't get a lot of the peer pressure that other children get in public schools, so they've been able to have a real childhood, an extended childhood beyond what most kids get. And I really like that. I like that they've been able to be kids a little bit longer without some of those pressures. That's not to say that they were sheltered, because at 14, Noelle was going down to New York City by herself. Of course, we went with her the first few times to go and dance, and she goes down there regularly now for auditions by herself, makes her way around the city. If she has problems, her 2 brothers and her uncle are there, but she pretty much is on her own when she goes down. You have like 3 or 4 businesses going now, don't you? You tutor algebra right now, you teach dance classes, you babysit, you help
constantly.
You help people with their houses and do organizational things. So she's very busy. You also sing, dance, and act. And you have how many credits this semester? At the local
13.
community college. So, and you have a lot of friends there, probably more than I would like you to or know about. Her brother is 9. He has a lot of friends and likes to play outside and skateboard. One thing I like also about socialization and homeschooling is that they can play with a variety of ages. Brennan's just as comfortable playing with a 3 or 4-year-old that comes over to our house, or even 2 for that matter, as he is playing with, a 12, 13-year-old, even though he's 9. That's not to say that he always plays with those ages. Most of the time he plays with kids that are about his age. But he's very, very comfortable on either side. We have friends that are 94. Is that how old Phil is? Yeah. And we have friends that are babies. My kids are also very comfortable with adults, as most homeschooling children are, I think. They treat them in a different way. They're more friends. They have actual conversations with them. They don't just walk in and blow them off, like a lot of public school kids that come in here do blow me off. And of course there are exceptions, but I think public school children perceive adults as authority figures and not as friends or co-learners in the same way. I know many of their friends since they were very small, and it's really lovely to watch them to grow up and be able to talk to their parents about issues, or to even be able to help with issues. I know that Noelle has on several occasions talked with friends, mothers that she's known since she was little, when she was unable to talk with me because of very typical mother-daughter teenage issues. And I really feel grateful to those women that have known her since she was little and that were there for her. And I like that she was comfortable in going and talking to them, because she's always talked with them when she had problems and things that she wanted to discuss. So I think that's really healthy, because there's a real mentoring relationship with many of the other parents. I think that when you're talking with people about socialization and they have concerns about it, there's usually one or two things that they actually are worried about. In some cases, it's well, is your kid going to be able to go to the prom, or are they going to have friends? And if you can talk to them and draw them out enough, you'll find out what the thing is that they're most concerned about, and then you'll be able to answer those questions. And there are answers. There's homeschool groups. There's homeschool graduation celebrations. There's homeschool proms. We have an orchestra here in our homeschool group that now has about 40 members. So there really are so many opportunities out there. In this state, one of the big drawbacks is there are no sports, interscholastic sports. You're not allowed to play on the high school teams. So that if Brennan chose to play basketball or football, or probably even baseball, once he got past a certain age, that would become an issue for him. But for the most part right now, he has everything he needs, and I think Noelle does, because she was never a sports nut. We tried to get her. She played t-ball. Didn't want to play it anymore.
I was dancing in the outfield with picking daisies.
Noelle's a dancer. She's not a jock. But I think my children have been able to grow and develop in a way that was much more natural. If you're in third grade and socially maybe you're not at a third grade level, you may be ostracized, you may have a very difficult time. Whereas in homeschooling, if you're not quite at a third grade level yet socially, you can then sort of drift down to a younger age kids and have them as your friend and sort of mature as you need to mature, and not have all those negative issues that are come with being around a social group that isn't right at your same level. People will say to me, well, your kid has to learn how to deal with the bad kids. Your kid has to take some of those rough knocks and learn those things, and how are they going to learn how to deal with different types of people? I think my kids do learn to deal with different types of people. We have a child who's on the autistic spectrum in our Monday group. Noelle gets propositioned at school. I don't necessarily think that we're immune from dealing with difficult people. Brennan has a black eye, actually, as we speak, from someone in the homeschool group today, in a little issue that we had outside. So we're not immune to those things. There are some really pretty rotten homeschool kids too, I have to tell you, the kids that I just prefer not to have here. So we do deal with a variety of different kids. If my children have to face some really tough things, greater peer pressure, drugs, many of the situations that you see in school as you move up, I think they're going to have a better foundation to deal with those things. That's not to say that they won't have some difficult times, but I think that they'll be a little bit older, they'll be a little bit more mature, and they'll be better able to deal with those difficult times when they arise than they would have if they had to deal with them when they were younger and with a less strong foundation, because they'd been struggling all along. So those are my views on socialization and homeschooling. If you have any questions, please go to my website, which is homeschoolingconfessions.com, and please feel free to send me a message. We can maybe cover it in a future episode. Did I miss anything, guys? You want to say?
I have 384 friends on Facebook.
And I have 20 and not even Facebook.
But sarcasm. Joking.
But do you have real friends that aren't on Facebook, that aren't virtual?
I'm just like
friends?
every high school kid that has ridiculous Facebook friends and
they have girlfriends and boyfriends, and they break up, and people cry, and
no, you know
behave
when they break
badly.
up before they tell you, because it shows on Facebook, and it's official when it's on Facebook. Facebook's ridiculous. I shouldn't be talking about this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And Brennan, you have real friends.
Yeah, I got real friends, okay? Chill it out, peoples.
Take a deep breath.
You can take the 9-year-old out of school, but you can't take the 9 out of 9-year-olds. We're just taking deep breaths all day. I think I'm going to go pour another glass of wine.